Hello everyone and welcome to your NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday the 17th of April 2023. It's Gary here again and I hope you had a good week and I hope you had a good weekend. It's always a great weekend when Rangers win, and I'm very happy to be joining you this week on NARSA's very own version of Deadline Day. And as you know, probably for regular listeners anyway, that today marks the final day of any nominations to the NARSA executive positions, and also for any required or requested amendments to the Constitution, the NARSA Constitution as well. So I'll get to that in a wee bit. But at the time of recording, we are in the final hours. What time is it right now? Let me just see. 6:45 p.m. So it's going to be 10 p.m. my time, which is midnight Eastern Standard Time. So 7.25 hours or so to go before the window slams shut and we deal with the aftermath of how it all played out. So I don't know if there's going to be any late drama. I have a rough idea of what's going on thus far, and it's kind of exciting. I love this, and then I'll get a wee bit, it's not the end of the end, but it's the end of one important part of it. And here's another wee tidbit. This is my first ever car pod. I'm recording from the car at Foothills Athletic car park, because Leo has athletics tonight, or track as they like to call it here, and he's away running around getting himself all warmed up and stuff like that. And before I head out for a quick run here myself, I'm going to record from the car, get it over to Chris, and then hopefully we'll get that packaged up. So it might be a wee bit later tonight. I know I did say last week I would try and get it out earlier tonight, but the schedule is a wee bit more difficult, and I might end up doing car pods a wee bit more as we go forward, because Leo's schedule is going to be Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday over the next wee while. So you might get used to this. Hopefully the quality is all right and it's not too bad. If I hear any honking or any other kind of activity outside, I might go on pause here and then just kind of restart. But so far, so good, I think. Anyway, on to the game segment. As you know, just the one game this past week, and it was Saturday's, I thought, quite entertaining 5-2 victory against St Mirren, of course, the team from the most beautiful town in Scotland, and that was thanks to goals from Todd Cantwell, Fashion Sakala, a double. Great to see him back on getting multiple numbers there for Alfredo Morelos, and absolutely incredibly glorious team goal rounded off by Scotty Arfield again. I wasn't quite honestly sure what we'd end up getting from this team when I heard the lineup, which I think was actually the day before. I think it was on Friday that I'd heard how many players were out. And all the changes that we had in the team, I wasn't 100% sure whether that was going to bode well, if it was going to end up being a wee bit flat. But we served up a good game, and we, with lots of possession, lots of chances, and of course our usual calamitous defending as well, albeit maybe not quite as nightmarish as it was the week before. So in summary, we started the game, I thought, pretty solidly. Got a break when we were awarded the penalty, and very, very early, like the 5th or 6th minute or something like that, and then we waited an age to get the penalty taken, and Tav ended up missing that, unfortunately. Good save by the goalie, quite honestly, I thought. And then we kept plugging away, and then Todd Cantwell finished a really solid move for us in about the 26th minute, and I thought at that point, right, okay, we're really going to put some under the sword here. And it just didn't work out like that, did it? Right on half time, we had another, I don't know if I want to call it a horror show, because it wasn't, as I say, quite as blatant as it was before, but where the bulk of the actual garbage defending on this occasion actually took place kind of outside the box, where we're just kind of dilly-dallying around the field, and we're not closing them down, and then we just allow them to come at us, and then a dangerous ball comes into the box, and then that's what happened. I think it was a bit of a deflection with the boy that came in as well, and then their fella just controls it, and I have to say, what an absolutely incredible finish. It was a superb volley to make it 1-1 just right on half time. Great finish, absolutely no doubt about that, but the amount of space we gave him was just absolutely ridiculous, and Michael Beale really laid into him. He revealed that at full time during his press conference after the game, that he'd really laid into him at half time as well, and full time for the defendant for both goals. So then we come back out the second half, kind of normal service resumed, and then in 48 minutes we're thinking, right, here we go, But no, we get the goal, of course, that we were looking to try and get from Fashion Sakala. Really good header there he did, actually, and then our defence just wasn't ready to win the game. I guess that's the only way to put it. I guess is it from a positive spin perspective, and the second goal wasn't quite as bad in terms of defending, but we're just not clearing our lines really, or having what looks to me like as a complete novice of the game, like any genuine positional awareness, and if I could say like safe defending instincts. We don't seem to have that, where somebody would just go, know exactly what's happening, give everybody else a shout, put their laces through it to get it away, like whatever they have to do. We seem to be, I don't know if we're overly technical, or we've just lost our instincts, or we don't have any instincts. Maybe that's what it is. Not 100% sure, but then that fella slots home for his second equaliser of the day, and that was a pretty decent finish as well, to be fair. We did turn the intensity up, to be very, very fair to Rangers after that, and Alfie came in to score a couple of really good goals for us, and we rounded off later on in the scoring with a 60 pass move that saw an absolutely superb blind pass beautifully slotted through from Todd Cantwell for Scotty Arfield to just kind of dink it home, or caress it home. Maybe we should say that, because it was so beautiful. And at the time I didn't realise the number of passes involved. You kind of lose concentration a wee bit just as we're moving it around. And then it was actually just this morning on social media that I saw Rangers had posted it and counted all the passes, and absolutely brilliantly worked goal, right? It seems like right throughout the team, and probably everybody had a touch. I would imagine if there's 60 touches there to get it going, and then 5-2 was how it ended. So positives: the score, definitely the score, and the brilliant fifth goal, and spreading the goals around the team was great. Also really good to see us score 5 goals. I know we lost 2 in a fashion that we really didn't care for too much, but in order for us to get 5, like we've been saying, so much possession, so many chances, so many wasted opportunities and things like that. So it's really great for us to get the 5, and maybe hopefully that's going to be a wee bit of a theme between now and the end of the year, end of the season, I should say. As well, getting an extra 3 goals to that very point on our goal difference is a wee bit of a positive, and it still seemed, the atmosphere seemed quite good. It seems like the fans, definitely Ibrox, showed up for us, which is great, because I have to say, in Calgary, and I love all my brothers and sisters in Calgary, but if we don't win the semi-final in a couple of weeks, I'm pretty certain I'm going to be standing on my own at Pin Bar for the remainder of the games after that, and that would be, of course, the 5 post-split games, because there's just nothing to play for at that point after that, other than maybe trying to put one over in Celtic before the end of the season, I guess. On the negatives, the defensive lapses for both goals just wasn't cool, was it? And neither was the stupidity of hanging around to have VAR confirm what everybody in the world already knew about our goal that wasn't offside. I think it was it Cantwell's goal, or was it Alfie's goal, or both maybe even. Other than that, good result, good entertainment, and a good performance. Not too many negatives from the day. On the stats side, we had 78% possession. That's one of our highest of late. And 18 shots, 11 on target, to their 5 when they had 4 on target as well. On the referee watch, Stephen McLean did a better job than Clancy did last week. Let's just say that, and that's a fact. And as I mentioned, like the faffing about for VAR when it was plain as day onside, and some other VAR interventions during the game are just over the top, I felt, and it's a pity Clancy and Walsh didn't actually do that last week, and then take a proper look at Alfie's goal from every single angle, and then see what actually happened, and then we might have been talking right now at a slightly different pitch and a slightly different level of excitement. And in the mix here, when the game finished there the other day, my nephew Paul from back home had messaged me and said that we should be 3 points behind them right now, and that's exactly what it should have been. And it would have just been exciting for another 24 hours to get that, but that's not the way that the referees conspired to have it roll out for us towards the end of the season. But with all that said, I don't recall getting overly upset about them, although I did have a couple of pints during the game, so I'm quite happy about that. So I'm always in a good mood when that happens. So they're going to get a 7 out of 10 this week, and with that result, 6 games to go, we're now 12 points behind them, of course, and it's just a matter of time. One game this week, and it's on Sunday. This Sunday away to Aberdeen with an 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time kick-off. That's 4:30 in the UK. Kind of a bit of an odd time to have a game at Aberdeen. You know, I mean, that's going to be really, really inconvenient for the Bears driving down there as well, you know, before a kind of work on Monday start kind of thing. Anyway, who am I to criticise? And this is the last league game before the semi-final, and the last league game before the final five split as well. And I have to say, it's against an Aberdeen team who are flying. So this should be a bit of an entertaining game, I reckon. And the last time we played them, you remember, was the 2-1 come from behind win at Hampden in the semi-final of the League Cup not so long ago, and that was goals from Ryan Jack and Kamar Roof. And prior to that, we were also at Pittodrie on the 20th of December, and we won 3-2. And you remember that goal from, it was fairly early in Michael Beale's tenure, and we had the two 2-1 down going into injury time, and then we get the two injury time goals from Scott Arfield. What a brilliant, absolutely brilliant finish to the game that was. And then we also did beat them 4-1 back at Ibrox in late October as well. Another come from behind victory with goals from Tony Goals himself, John Lundstrom, James. One goal, from Tony Goals, John Lundstrom, Tavernier and Alfredo Morelos. So what would be kind of cool in this game is that we don't actually go behind against Aberdeen, because that's 3 games in a row that we've had against them this season. Sorry, that might be even 4 that we've had against them this season, and we have been behind in every single one. So let's not do that again this weekend, please, Rangers. Thank you. And as I mentioned last week, we already have second place confirmed, so it is just a matter of prepping the players for the semi-final. For some reason I had it in my head that it was a wee bit further away, but to just basically have 2 league games in between, Michael Beale is obviously, and his staff are resting some key players, giving some guys a chance for a wee bit of recovery and making sure they're going to be nice and fresh for Hampden there in a couple of weeks' time. So that's going to be something to look forward to, and then we'll see what the remainder of the season looks like. If the result doesn't go our way in a semi-final, we'll see what Michael Beale decides to do with his team, and if it does go our way, then there'll obviously be some key player management between now and the beginning of June as to getting everybody ready for picking up, hopefully, a bit of silverware this season. For RTV, I don't think we had any challenges on the RTV front. I didn't hear of any that spring to mind, so I think that was all good on the RTV front for this past week. On the shout-outs for this past week, I actually didn't have any material shout-outs until I was actually thinking just about the last week and so, and then I just wanted to congratulate the SFA for answering Rangers' calls for clarification on the refereeing performance at the Old Firm game with a very, very quick, very public, nothing to see here, we're siding with the refs at the most blatant of mistakes during the actual game in and of itself. I really know that I should lower my expectations when it comes to these balloons, but come on, it's just ridiculous behaviour overall, isn't it? I mean, I do commend everyone for universally agreeing that the intimidation of the refs is not on. Everybody's been saying that. The press have been saying it, the leadership at Rangers have been saying it, the manager's been saying it, the SFA's been saying it. I think that other mob on the other side of the city have been saying it, and that's kind of cool to take away the actual rationale for what happened and the reasons for the fallout after that. And I think the intimidation genuinely of the referees is not on, whether it's on or off the field. But just for once, how refreshing would it be if Rangers came out and said something along the lines of, firstly, we don't condone any threatening behaviour of any description against officials. That's carte blanche across the entire club forevermore. However, if this particular individual in question hadn't got so many calls wrong during the game, and ones that materially influenced the outcomes of the game, then maybe we wouldn't even need to be talking about it right now. However, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Like something like that. Imagine Rangers came out and said that. I'd love it if they did. It's not catty, it's not petty, but we're all about making friends, I guess, and trying to influence people with honey and not vinegar, which is a thing, I guess. But I don't know, this constant, calling out of the threatening behaviour against the referees. I totally get it, and I genuinely agree. But that's just masking it for me a little bit. Very, very convenient. Anywho, that's the shout out for those clowns. For the convention update, I can officially confirm that it is 59 days. Actually, like 2 months right now, as I sit here and it's now 7 o'clock bang on, we will be at the Walter Smith Memorial Grand Banquet. And we'll probably just be heading in at some point fairly shortly here, but that's a wee bit of a milestone to think about. So 59 days and 8 weeks until we get going with our friends over at Toronto Midtown to host the biggest bash of the Rangers year. As I mentioned last week and over the last couple of weeks, we did send some emails, to the membership and to everyone who's subscribed to the NARSA communications on our website, and we did get a little bit of activity on the ticket sales, but nothing massively material. I think our numbers are going to be fairly stayed to what the numbers are if we get a good result in the semi-final. I know I said this before in the last Old Firm game as well. Then we might be in a position to look at bigger numbers, but I think that's kind of where we're at for right now. So the deadline for booking was today, and we're going to be meeting with the hotel. I actually didn't receive any communication from the hotel today, but the lassie I've been dealing with is just back today from holiday, I should say. So we'll get an opportunity to chat to the hotel this week, look at what the numbers look like, make some adjustments if the hotel are willing, revamp the contract, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So as soon as we know what that looks like in terms of how many people we can actually fit in to the banquet space at the hotel, then we'll get that organised, and then we'll be in good shape then. So hopefully this will work out the way that it's supposed to work out. Quick reminder that you can go to the Holiday and Flight Centre at theconvention.com. That's at theconvention.com, and see what Rosie and team have put together if you're still considering coming over from the UK in particular. And we have everything out for sale now. The magazine's out for sale, the football's out for sale, the golf is out for sale, the excursion on the Saturday's out for sale, and we are going to be working with the hotel here shortly just to figure out what the final day or the leaving do is going to be. It's going to be at the hotel, and we've got a very, very, very cool space to get that organised as well. So that's going to be pretty fun as well. The days are fair ticking by, folks. 59 days to go. And just another reminder, this is an election year, and at our AGM, which will be on the 17th of June, and we will have open competition for any of the unclaimed positions, and as I'd mentioned before, tonight is the deadline, Eastern Standard Time, midnight Eastern Standard Time, 10 o'clock my time, to be voted in via acclamation if you are the only person that has put their name in the second forward for a particular position. If there are multiple people in for a particular position, which there are for the communications director, then it goes to an open election. And what we'll do is we'll get each of the candidates on for a quick interview at some point here as we're moving forward as well, and get that organised, and then we'll see how things shake out at the AGM. So it looks like there's going to be at least one election for one of the positions, and we'll see what happens with the remainder of the unfilled ones as we move forward. On the communication front for this week, the big news, I guess, from the boardroom from this last week, which seems to be a bit of a regular occurrence week on week now, was the departure of sporting director Ross Wilson to Nottingham Forest. And the club statement said, sporting director Ross Wilson has today departed Rangers to join Nottingham Forest, with the best wishes and thanks of everyone at Ibrox and the Rangers Training Centre. Ross's 3.5 years of work at Rangers contributed to the men's first team winning an historic 55th league title, the first Scottish Cup in 13 years, a run to the Europa League final, and a return to the Champions League for the first time in 12 years. The women's first team has been professionalised and fully integrated within the football department under Ross's stewardship. This has seen them win their first ever SWPL title, and this season lift the Sky Sports Cup. Ross has overseen the development of the Rangers Training Centre into a truly elite facility, now comparable to many top European clubs. Rangers now has a fully operational player trading model, and under Ross's guidance, the club's transfer club's transfer fee record was broken twice with the sales of Nathan Patterson and Calvin Bassey. Rangers chairman John Bennett commented that I would like to sincerely thank Ross for his enormous contribution to the development of Rangers both on and off the pitch. While we have enjoyed silverware and excellent European progress during his time, his legacy will be the development of the Rangers Training Centre into a top-class environment and the integration and success of our women's programme. Speaking as he departs the club, Ross Wilson added, I would like to thank the players, led superbly by Captain James Tavernier and the manager Michael Beale, as well as all those who have come before them in the 3.5 years I have spent at Rangers. I would like to thank Douglas Parks, Stuart Robertson and the board for their support. I wish John Bennett, a true Rangers man, a successful chairmanship. This is a great club and there are so many reasons for Rangers to face the decades ahead with optimism and pride. Thank you for your support. I wish everyone associated with Rangers nothing but the best for the future. So this is a bit of an interesting one for me because it did appear to be brewing for a wee while now. Now, of course, that coincides with the season not going anywhere near the way that we were hoping it was going to go, and then people start to turn their attentions to trying to figure out why that is, and there certainly were rumblings of discontent for this past wee while, and it quite honestly seems like this has worked out for everyone. It'll work out for the best for everyone involved as well. So as I said last week to Mr. Park and Mr. Bennett, on behalf of NARSA, thank you very much to Ross Wilson for everything he did for Rangers when he was there, and all the very, very best of luck to him in his new endeavour down at Forest. The way things are going down in the league down there, I was going to say the Championship, in the Premier League down there, Forest are on a bit of a slippery slope, so maybe he can arrest that decline and keep them in that division there and see how it goes. And finally, on the comms front for this week, I know I keep mentioning this, but I am supposed to be on this Glasgow Rangers Nation podcast with Victoria Sell. We just can't seem to align the stars a wee bit. I think they've got some other guests that they've got lined up, and then just trying to kind of fit the calendar in is making it a wee bit more difficult than I was originally anticipating. So we are going to do that. The original hope was that it was going to get a wee bit more exposure. It was going to get us a wee bit of a platform to talk about the NARSA convention and maybe kind of boost some ticket sales and things like that. But it'll still be a great chat with Victoria and her colleagues over there, and we'll get that going. Maybe this week, if not this week, at some point before the end of the season would be a thing as well. And we've also been talking to Stuart Hay from the Journey Back fame, and you might know Stuart from some of the absolutely brilliant skits that he does online, where he parodies Rangers and Celtic fans bantering with each other and stuff like that. And Stuart has put together, you might have seen on social media yesterday, he's going to come and join us actually in Toronto. He's not going to perform in Toronto, and that's not the plan as we sit here right now, but very, very keen to see what NARSA's all about, see where he can help kind of thing, and just get a general feel for how we do things over here as well. So I'm going to get Stuart on for a quick bio and a quick interview, and he can do a bit of a bio. Then he sent me one over the weekend there, but I don't have it handy at my notes, so I'll just leave it for today. But suffice to say, he's very excited to be involved, and maybe we'll see if we can get something going for New York with him. He's going to be selling some merch, and he's going to get some meet and greet stuff going at the convention as well. So really, really looking forward to meeting him in person. He's been great banter over the phone thus far, so we'll get a wee bit more going on that over the next wee while as well. That's going to do it for this week, my friends. As always, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you very, very, very much for joining me, and please pass it on to anybody you think might need some Rangers edutainment as their week unfolds. And until next week, here's to our last league game. We always like to play Aberdeen because we don't like to get beat by anyone, but let alone that mob, and I'll call them that mob as well because that's how much I feel about them this week. And here's hoping we finish off the kind of main part of the season before the split with a victory that sets us up for good success going in to the semi-final the following weekend. Until next week, folks, take care and all the very best, okay? Cheerio.